Wanted to get the insider's take on how it was executed, because Seamie's on the line now. Hi, Seamie.
Morning, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you? I presume delighted after yesterday. Just talk me through your mindset before the race and how you approached the whole setup.
Yeah, well, I write her plenty of work, and I know the filly. I know the way she can and her ability, and I knew what I had to do to try and beat the horse, and she beat him comfortably to finish.
What was that? What did you have to do in terms of the pace that you went, in terms of the way that you attended Ghaiyyath? What did you do? We're watching it now, the early stages.
Yeah, he's some cards. He's early pace and he's strong rhythm, but there's no point in taking him on with something that wasn't good enough to go with him and outbattle him. She just had the ability, and she was the right mare to do it.
So that's the point. It's the fact that, yes, you want to find his vulnerability, but there's no point just throwing horses at him that he's going to just dismiss out of the way. You have to have enough speed and class to be able to stick with him.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, he's a fair horse. He wasn't rated the world's best horse because he can't run and can't keep going. But she's been following a neighbour around. The neighbour's probably the best mare I've ever seen, but Magical is that bit stronger and fitter, and we're lucky to have her, and she is 5 now, so most horses probably don't get to their full strength to show what they have, so they're just down tools before they're fully mature. That's just the way we're it.
And it's interesting this, because Neil was saying everyone sort of knew where Ghaiyyath's Achilles heel might be. For all that he's run extremely well yesterday, it is a tiny Achilles heel. So he's not completely bullying you and dominating you. Yet nobody had chosen to try and exploit that thus far this season. Why do you think that is? Is it because it's essentially counterintuitive to do what you did yesterday, from a normal jockey's way of doing things?
Yeah, sometimes if you're riding a very good horse in a race and you think it's not there, by sacrificing your pace or your strength early on, where you should have finished second or third, by doing that, you only finish 5th or 6th. So if you ride a horse to run well, sometimes they run well, but if you sacrifice them and go head out crazy, you mightn't get home. But Magical was ready. She was ready to take him on and run as hard as he could, which is pretty fast. And she outgunned him and eyeballed him, and they had a right scrap up the straight. So I was very confident.
So it was
very confident.
You went in very confident. So it was a victory for heart and courage and absolute preparation. Did you feel that she'd actually moved forward from that fitness, that hardness, that edge from the race at York?
I did, but listen, that's only my opinion, and everybody has an opinion, and some people's opinions are right and some people's opinions are completely wrong. But I felt that this time of year she was coming that little bit stronger and better. So listen, she was spot on. It was brilliant.
And actually, it echoes really what Ryan said after York, which was that, yeah, he was quite pleased with her, but he sort of said, well, I thought I'd give him a bit more of a fright, to be honest with you. It's sort of, the evidence kind of stacks up now with the glorious benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, well, listen, I had a chat to Ryan before the race, and we had all discussed. So if he was riding her, he'd have done the exact same thing. So he was a help to me anyway. He didn't discourage me in the plan that we were setting and making up.
I've always been intrigued as to what your mindset is when you find out which one of 2 horses with a roughly equivalent chance you're riding in a big race, whether it's Ryan's choice or whether it's Aidan saying, I think you should ride one, Ryan should ride the other, however it pans out. When you found out you were riding Magical and not presumably Japan, who you might have ridden in other circumstances, what did you feel inside about their relative chances to one another?
I felt happy, but sometimes the best thing you can do is keep your mouth closed and see what way it pans out on the day,
Yeah, you're in a fortunate position in that respect, because you don't really have to do anything but keep your mouth closed. But I guess the decision for him was potential over proven ability, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
He gave a lovely interview yesterday after the race about Japan, but he slightly scratching his head. The horse travelled really well. On what you've seen at home, do you think Has Japan still got it in him? Has he still got it in him to go and win a nice race?
Listen, this is a funny game. Japan could volley them 2 horses around the next day and come and get them. You just don't know what way horses are feeling. Race day, when they travel to the races and load in the stalls, sometimes they don't pitch up what you see in the morning, and sometimes they go way above what you see in them. That's what makes horse racing exciting and thrills, and even the best judges in the world get it wrong plenty. So, you know, that's what makes racing the way it is. If you're right 51% of the time, you're doing well.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's occurred to me, because you were talking about Ghaiyyath, you were talking about Enable, and you followed around a ton of times. You know all about Love. As we build into this fantastic autumn of the season, you must have given some thought to Paris and how Love and Enable's matchup is going to go from a tactical point of view and from an ability point of view. How do you look at it as a sort of partial but at the same time considered observer?
When the likes of Enable or Franklin come along, I mean, you have to tip your hat, and these are monsters of horses. How they can do what they do is unbelievable. I suppose Aidan can get inside those horses' heads and get them thinking that you can do it. And listen, they're the ones you have to beat, but we're always trying to beat them. If we don't have the best ones, we're trying to beat them. So that's the way I look at it.
And in Love, do you think he's got the absolute tool to do that now? The absolute right horse to be a proper champion and to take down the best older horse we've seen this generation? She's
a very impressive Guineas winner and an even more impressive Oaks winner. You know, she can only beat and destroy what you put in front of her, but 3-year-olds have a good record in the race. She's been trained for it, so with a bit of luck, she'll run well, and she could very possibly win.
Having said all of that, of course, she then needs to have a little bit of what your mare had yesterday, which is just that absolute will and that absolute ability to run through a brick wall for you.
Yeah, a lot of Galileos just they don't get drunk punched. They just keep throwing punches.
Well, it was an absorbing race, Seamie, and I'm really interested to listen to how you did it and why you did it and why you executed those tactics. Thanks for chatting to us again. Appreciate your time.
No problem. Pleasure. Thank you.
Subscribe to Racing TV to be notified when more Luck on Sunday videos are appearing online. And don't forget to join me for the show every Sunday morning from 9 o'clock with the best guests.